It was a boring normal day for both officers Daniels and Mitchell. They were in a routine patrol. As usual, they were having a normal chat with their colleagues, but their conversation broke out when an old woman fell in front of them. Instead of helping her, they couldn't stop laughing at her, but their laugh didn't last for long, when they discovered who that old woman is, and the trouble they will have for laughing at her instead of helping. Who is this old woman? Do they have to apologize for their behavior? And most importantly, will they lose their jobs if they don't do that? But before we start, press the like button and make sure to subscribe, and press the notification bell so that you don't miss any new stories. When Daniels and Mitchell joined the police for the first time, they were both excited youths. They were prepared to apply the law and serve their city. Despite that, they have changed as the time passed. Also, their honor and bravery faded with time, so they became those two men who laughed at a woman's fall instead of helping her. Routine patrols and frequent small crimes have become unimportant to them. They felt that their abilities didn't match the work they think that their abilities worth. Clara was always made sure to wear elegant cloths, and her hair was always in a good shape. While walking in the street, she had a problem in breathing and she suddenly fell on the ground, as well as her bag, with most of her content on the ground. The officers Daniels and Mitchell were close to her when she fell. What they did after that changed their careers' lives forever. Instead of rushing to help her, after hearing her scream, the two men did something unimaginable. The officer Daniels started to laugh at the woman, but that wasn't the worst thing. His partner Officer Mitchell started to laugh loudly. The poor Clara has some small scratches on her skin. She tried to lift herself up from the ground. Both officers were laughing and they didn't notice the denial looks from the crowd. A young woman walks towards to Clara and started to check her, to see if she having any wounds on her skin. The young woman gave an angry look at the two officers who were still laughing. The young woman was angry that they didn't notice if Clara was fine or not. She looked at them. How could you do something like that? The young woman said. The two officers stopped laughing. They thought that their police uniform protected them and they can do whatever they want, but when they discovered who Clara was, they realized that they are in trouble. The young woman kept saying to the officers, "Is this the kind of protection and service that we expect from you?" Mitchell asked his partner Daniels in a low voice. "Do you know this old woman?" Daniels replied, "I don't know, but I have a feeling that we should discover that." In those moments, Clara was taken to a nearby bench, where the crowd tried to make her feel comfortable and treat the small wounds on her skin. Clara sat on the bench, treating her small wounds, and inside her, she has a storm of feelings. The laughs of the officers were in her mind and their smiley faces were printed in her memory. Over the years, she noticed the number of officers decrease on the streets. The city was growing, and this came with new challenges. The number of crimes increased, and the police forces started to fade. I understood the pressure they were facing, the long hours, and the unpleasant tasks. In the next day morning, this incident became the story of the city. Over the days, the influence of this incident starts to have a bad effect on the social trust in the police force. The parents ask their kids to be cautious from the police officers. Old people, like Clara, started to feel uncomfortable when they see the police cars. This city had rich history of respecting the police officers. They were considered heroes, peacekeepers, and justice providers. When the police officers, Daniels and Mitchell, entered the police station on the next day, the conditions were different, in a certain way. The morning jokes disappeared. Instead, there was a heavy silence. When they went to their offices, they felt a lot of pressure. Many eyes were watching them. As the day passed, it became clear that Daniels and Mitchell had been formed as a disgrace in the police station. They didn't ashame themselves only, but the whole police station. They were under pressure. The comfort they have started to disappear, and it was very obvious that both officers were struggling. In their offices, the officers Daniels and Mitchell turned on their computers. They tried to access the city database, hoping for any information about Clara. Despite their hard work, Clara's identity remained unknown. She was like a ghost. She was in their minds, but it disappeared from all the databases. Tired and almost give up, Daniels decided to take a break. He went to the police station archive. Between the dusty shelves and the files of the old cases, an old yellow document takes his attention. Out of curiosity, he began to go through this old document. An article takes his attention. The title was about a huge event that happened years ago. During reading he figured out that he might have a part of the answers he was seeking. He rushed to his office while holding the old document he found in his hand. "Mitchell, you have to see this." The article was talking about a social event, from a long time ago, celebrating the bravery of the city citizens. The article was talking about prominent people, people who do good, everyday heroes. While reading they noticed that there is a woman called Clara, who played a vital role in a social project. The details were in line with Clara's description. Next to the documents, there was an old photo within white and black, which contained group of people, but only one face was recognizable, the young Clara, her eyes shining with kindness looking at them. They discovered a part of her past, parts of her life, which were immortalized in the press. They know that they were laughing at a woman who was a proud part of this city. They were feeling guilty. They wanted to atonement for the fault they committed, not only for them, but also for Clara and the good history she represents. The officers started to plan for what they want to do. They wanted to visit Clara. They would face their mistakes and take responsibility for what they did, and give an honest apology to Clara. Daniels and Mitchell stood outside Clara's house, waiting for Clara to open the door. When Clara welcomed them, her eyes were full of surprise and tiredness. The officers hoped to prevent them a few moments of her time to apologize for what they did, and ask for forgiveness. Inside Clara's comfortable living room, the officers began to speak. "We are very sorry for our actions," Daniels started with two eyes full of shame. Mitchell adds, "We have failed in our duty, not only as police officers, but as a human being." They were honest, and it was very clear that they are ashamed. Clara listened with attention. After listening, she finally spoke. "We all do mistakes," she said. Her voice was soft. "What matters is that we learn from it." Her words were full of grace and understanding. With her kindness she accepted their sincere apology. With her wisdom, she gave them a chance to redeem. Clara offered to take the officer to a special place. When they arrived, they realized that they were in the city monumental, a tribute to the special people from the past. Clara's eyes were full of tears, and she shared the stories of the people who were mentioned in this monumental. While sharing those stories, Clara said something that shocked the officers. Clara said with pride, "My youngest son took the place of his elder brother, and became the head of the police." This was a great shock to the officers. They were laughing at the mother of their boss, a woman who gave a lot to the city and the police. She saw how shocked they are. Clara said, "I did not tell my son about the incident. I thought you will know your fault, and you will come to apologize. It is possible for everyone to miss their way," she said proudly, "but there is no late time to be back the right way once again." They made a promise to Clara, her hero son, and themselves. They will try to be better, to honor their outfit, and to serve their society with honesty and respect. As the time passed, the people began to notice the change in both of the police officers, Daniels and Mitchell, their hard work for the justice, and their efforts. They started to regain the trust that was broken. The story of the police officers Daniels and Mitchell became a hope for the city. The purpose of this story is to remind us that there is no late time to correct the mistakes and return to the right way.